Hey, everybody. I'm Charles. I'm the director of customer support at Coastline. Andrew is a technologist, a runner, and he's a passionate CX leader with 25 years of experience building support teams at startups and Fortune 100 companies. You are speaking at the Support Driven Expo. If anybody hasn't registered, you should register for the Support Driven Expo that's in Vegas this year, October 9 and October 10. The title of your talk is Building a Support Report That People Want to Read. I'm all over it, but I want to learn more. So tell me, what is a support report?
Second time at the expo giving a workshop. I'm really excited about that talk, that engagement. A support report ultimately answers a couple of big questions in many ways. It answers who's contacting us, how many times, and why are they contacting us? And then bringing that down, peeling that onion back. And the support report is something that is your truth out of the business. Here's what's happening. Here's how we're servicing our customers, our clients, and here's what they're contacting us for. And then there's that third area that you and I really dived into, which is now tell us how we could prevent this. What's happening with the product? What's happening with the service? What are they telling us? Dare I say, voice of the customer?
There's variations of these kind of things that I've seen work at different companies. I've put some together. Some people call it a state of report, but that could be something that is higher level. And it sounds like this is something that is goes out on a more frequent basis. Is that right?
One of the things I found is just consistency, just continuously sending it out and giving folks in the organization an opportunity to self-serve what's happening in the support side of the house. It's very, what I like to say, systematic in the story framework. So every week, let's just answer the same questions, but then let the data tell the story. For
Mhm.
example, how many phone calls did we get? How many emails did we get? How many chats did we get? Okay, what was the duration of those? And then you have those other metrics that we as leaders look at, but then peeling it back even more, going, all right, so what were the percentage of calls in a certain area? And what I like to tell people is then really start to answer the next question for the business is, was it product related? Was it a service related? Was it an expectation? Was it something that we're not aware of? And then start to really tell that story. And I think what a support report does for a leader, and I always say this to everyone, is that's one of the only things we have. And we're one of the only teams in the organization that has the truth. We're not trying to sell something for the future. We're not marketing an experience or anything. We are dealing frontline with what's happening with our product and our service and the folks that are buying and engaging with it. So we should embrace that. So embrace that with the support report and share it weekly. And then you mentioned another one there, Charles, which is awesome, is then it changes. Then break another one down quarterly for the business. And then break another one down yearly. And I think the
Mhm.
support report also is serving many people. It's for your team also to see how you're servicing the customers, how you're doing, right? We're either getting better or we're getting worse. And also opportunities for improvement and celebrate wins. There's a lot of things that come out of that support report. And then the other side of the business is letting them know. Are the clients engaging the way marketing was expecting? Are we seeing the personas that we were expecting? Is that new feature really resonating the way that we thought it did? Or are we getting another surprise based on the data that we're seeing?
Like you said, celebrate those wins, get that out there for everybody else because sale brings them in. We got to keep them here. We got to make sure that they're happy and they're getting the full experience out of our service or product.
Absolutely. I think more important organically in your team from a culture perspective is celebrating the team that's supporting those customers, celebrating either them through that report as well, right? A great CSAT score, great feedback specifically on a support agent directly from a premier customer. So a big logo customer calls in and Charles serviced them. That's also part of the support report. People hear support report, they oh, here comes another Excel sheet or 37 PowerPoint slides or 10 pages PDF that I really don't care about. What do I care about this? Which is a key question we have to always answer in the support report. Is that's another way to market and brand and sell your team that's out there doing that work. And it's also a way to highlight what I call opportunities for improvement in the business in the journey. And to this day, I always building my own report. I'm always thinking now, okay, what can they do with this though? What can they do with this? And I think that's the key to the report. There's a lot of work that goes into the report at first to build it in whatever state you might be in. As long as ultimately you know you're going to get to that vision, that's going to be a great story that comes out weekly that different teams will get used to going in and extrapolating on their own.
You said different teams. So you have different audiences for this. What are
Yeah.
some of the audiences who are consuming this?
Product team first, those who are building the product, the developers, whether it's software product, hardware engineers, They're the first audience. The second part, what I like to say, is the operations folks, right? Because those numbers could tie back into potential new product they might have to buy down the road. They also know a lot more of what could be happening out in the field, or potentially based on where the product was designed or built or things that were cut into the manufacturing line. So as support leaders, that's where we have to see that report tells us that. Might not catch everything right away week one.
We had an outage, or there was a new feature release or a bug patch that went out, and we had so many people reached out to us or said something about it. They needed something from us. And you've got people flooding you from social media where customer support requests saying, hey, fantastic, this is great. It all translates to the stuff that we do.
I think as support leaders, you have an opportunity. One of those areas where we can really own our seat at the table is using that report to be the historian. Because if you go back a year now and you've been putting that report out every week and then a quarterly one, right? And then you go back for the year, you see the spikes. I always like to help the support leaders. Like that's your biggest weapon. If you build that history and that culture consistently, it's just going to be there for you. And then don't set it and forget it. I think that the key is knowing that the operations team and that getting them buy-in is it's not my report, it's our report, right?
So, how did you start doing this? Why are you so passionate about the support?
I was fortunate and lucky that engineering team that I worked with early in my days when I was a knock technician over at Megapath here in Costa Mesa as a managed service provider, very early in the game with technology, great engineering team. When I would go share information with them about the calls I was getting and talk with them, they would always ask me for more information, right? Give me more to help with. What about this? And they would challenge me back. So that kind of set the stage. And then when I landed as a program manager at Cisco, that's when I learned that it's more than just the numbers. You need the numbers, you need the data. So you need your metrics, right? You need capacity planning for forecasting. Cisco, what I learned is how to own your seat at the table and get people to give you respect as a person that is also helping the business run. My director at Cisco coached me through that. And he said, look, your numbers are going to tell the story. You only got 90 seconds with them. What two things would you tell them that they could take action on and go back to their team? And instead of saying, oh, Rios is just
Yeah,
complaining about the calls again, it's not. Rios let us know that if they had one more day of planning and they understood this change that happened in the router, one of the things that the reporting helped me do is help reduce escalations, right? To be able to see what's escalating, what's not, the truth.
absolutely. So you can synthesize that information in different ways with different action items or call outs, just depending on who is consuming it.
Absolutely. That doesn't mean you throw out one big report with all the stuff in it. But then that's where the executives come into play. They think about your audience. Who cares
Yeah,
about the product feedback, cost, brand, right? I think we all should care about it. I think there's a saying out there that folks say, but I spun it a little bit, which is everybody's in sales. When we're out there, we're selling our company because everybody needs support. Everybody's in customer support. So being able to take that mindset and go, okay, what would they need to know in order to give a better customer experience in their world of operations? And sometimes it can even go into the accounting team.
it's one of those things that I've seen happen before where there could be a disconnect where you don't have that information that's being shared interdepartmentally. There could be a disconnect where there's an email or a memo that goes out from the accounts receivable team and they say, hey, people who talk to customers, for some reason, 50% of our customers haven't paid their bills yet. Next time you talk to them, go and get that. And then we're like, wait, yeah, actually, we just got 1,000 tickets from people saying, where's my invoice? Or I
Yeah.
got this nasty email that says I haven't paid. There's so much there, and there's so much valuable information that can be shared with each department because everybody can be a stakeholder. I think
Yeah.
that's something that we as CX leaders have to make that a priority for other people to understand. There is something valuable here because we get the email saying we close this new customer. There's a sale here. We get this saying, hey, here's our profit margin. Here's how much revenue we created. We get these metrics from customer success. We get them from boarding teams, and we need that same visibility for the customer experience teams.
And we should take that lead in it. And I think that Fitbit is one of the first places where I'm like, we're going to send our own report out every week. And the natural response is another report people aren't going to read. Probably. But you know what? We're going to change it because it's going to market us. It's going to be our newsletter. It's just going to start with data and we're going to keep working on it. It should be owned by certain individuals in the team that own certain parts of it. It's really easy to go negative. Positive. Make it positive. That's how you're going to get people to come and ask more, get engaged with it, and then pay and hear it. Because nobody wants to hear that their baby's ugly. Instead, be like, hey, look at what recently happened, but how about what if? And I always introduce the phrase EBI, even better is. And just keep that in mind and then celebrate the team. Like I always said, make it yours, right? And people will read it. They will. It'll take a little bit of time, depending on where you're at in the life cycle. I've had to go and reinvent them, start them up again, start one from scratch right in the middle of something versus start from the beginning.
Catching up in person at the expo. I've got to finalize my travel plans, but I really hope to see you there and to hear you talk about this in person. I know a lot of other leaders are excited as well because they want to learn, okay, I'm not doing this now. How do I start? Or I'm doing something like this, but how do I take it to the next level? And also, how do I just continue to build excitement and buy-in? You said if you start it, you've got to change that culture. And I know leaders are going to love the advice that you give them when you talk about this. Andrew, you are talking at the Support Driven Expo, Las Vegas, Nevada, October 9, October 10, 2023. You're not talking for 2 days entirely, but that's when the expo is. People haven't registered, they should go register so they can hear you in person. And then, Andrew, how can people get in touch with you?
I'd love to connect with everyone and anyone. Andrew Rios on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'd love to say hi. Come by the workshop. Bring your data you have. Be ready to be vulnerable. Be ready to start from new. Be ready to hear from other people. The whole intent of my workshop is really to be real time. Hey, what are you working with today? Okay, where can we go next? Okay, here's this. And then I got some structure, some pro tips, and some things that we'll work through. So come see me. And then maybe we can catch the Raider game that Monday night. Green Bay's in town. Any Raider fans out there?
Good stuff. All right, Andrew, hope you have a good day. It was good catching up with you. See you soon,
You
man.
too. Charles, man, take care. Be well. Do good.